what's up, Ava fans, and welcome to Project Ava episode number 4, and today I'm going to be talking about every single religious reference in Evangelion. I went over every single episode and the end of Evangelion and found every single one, I think. And so I'm going to explain each and every one of them to you. And now, of course, we know that Hideki Anno and his producers just used the Judeo-Christian and Kabbalan religious imagery as a gimmick to separate Ava from all the other mecha shows out there at the time. Evangelion is not making a religious statement. Just get that out of your heads right now. We know this. But I, for one, am quite interested in what all this stuff means. I'm just that kind of guy. I'm curious, and I'm sure you guys are curious too. And I, for one, do believe that if you know this stuff, then you can better understand Ava as a whole. And some of the references are quite clever. Before I begin, though, I just want to give a shout out to V and his channel, Revolution of Ava, and to thank him for all the great support and all the awesome information he provides in his videos. And I will be linking you guys to his videos throughout this video because he provides a lot of extra information. He goes a lot more in depth into stuff that I'm going to be talking about throughout this video. And if you're subscribed to me and following Project Ava and all that, you should definitely go subscribe to him. He is the most knowledgeable person on Evangelion, believe me. So, no more delays, let's get to it. Let's begin with the obvious. First of all, there's all these crosses, more crosses, 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 more crosses, 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 more crosses, more crosses. There's a lot of crosses. Now surely I don't have to explain that the Christian cross is the most recognizable and most important religious symbol in that faith, do I? Speaking of recognizable and important symbols, Lilith is portrayed as being crucified on a cross, just as Christ was. Now in the show, Lilith is the progenitor of all human beings, the counterpart to Adam, who's the progenitor of all the angels.
That is Lilith, the progenitor of mankind, the false successors from the Black Moon.
And also Adam, progenitor of the angels, who are the true successors from the lost White Moon.
By very old Jewish folklore, Lilith was the first wife of Adam, who was created by God out of the same clay he created Adam out of. But Lilith left Adam because of an argument they had, wherein she claimed that since they were both created from the earth, they were equal, and thus she did not deserve to be on the bottom during missionary sex. And so God created Eve, or Ava. And much like the Evangelions were created from the first angel Adam, God created Eve from one of Adam's ribs. If you look at the nerve logo, a fig leaf partially covers the word nerve. And this is an allusion to in the Garden of Eden when Adam and Eve used fig leaves to cover their shame. On the subject of logos, Sele's logo, which is also seen on the mask that Lilith wears, is an allusion to the 7 eyes or 7 spirits of God, which is mentioned several times in the book of Revelations in the Bible. More specifically, the 7 eyes are mentioned in Revelation chapter 5, verse 6. And I looked, and behold, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 living creatures, and in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb as though it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent out into all the earth. Furthermore, the number 7 is an important number in the Christian faith, as it is God's number of perfection, and it appears several times throughout the Bible, especially in Revelation. And of course, Revelation, which is the last book in the Bible, speaks of the end of days, or the end of the world. And Sele's plan for instrumentality basically is a plan to bring about the end of the world, or a new beginning, as Chairman Keel likes to put it. And which is the same thing that the story in Revelation speaks of, a new beginning. You know, believers will be saved and all sinners will meet their end in the apocalypse. The angels' names are all taken from angelology, and many of them are named after very important angels in the Christian, Kabbalan, or Islamic faiths, such as Ramiel and Israfel. The Magi supercomputers are named after the 3 Magi, or wise men, Melchior, Caspar, and Balthazar, who supposedly visited Jesus at his birth. The Lance of Longinus, which in the show is a very powerful artifact from the first ancestral race, which is used to pierce Lilith's side, and is the only known weapon that can pierce an AT field, and is supposedly crucial to instrumentality. In the Bible, the lance or spear of Longinus was used to pierce Jesus' side after he was crucified. And much like the Magi, its actual existence is questionable due to the fact that it's only mentioned in one gospel. Much like in the show, where the Lance of Longinus is a very powerful and important artifact, the supposed real Lance of Longinus has gained legendary status and supposedly has very mysterious powers. Chairman Keel and Sele make mention of the Dead Sea Scrolls several times, and in the show, they make up a manual left by the first ancestral race to bring about instrumentality. In real life, the Dead Sea Scrolls refer to biblical texts which are among the oldest ever found and were discovered in the late 1940s and early 1950s. The Kabbalan Tree of Life is seen etched into the ceiling in Gendo's office, is seen in the opening and briefly in the end of Evangelion. The Tree of Life is a Kabbalan mystical symbol, and Kabbalists believe that it's a diagrammic representation of how God created the universe, and they also use it for their own cosmology, or how man fits in God's created world. In the end of Evangelion, the Tree of Life is formed right before instrumentality happens, or right before the creation of Sele's new universe where no individuality exists. If we pay attention to the Tree of Life in Gendo's office, we notice that his desk is located at the top of the Tree of Life, or what is known as the crown. This basically just tells us that he's the head honcho at Nerves and he's calling all the shots. Marduk, which is the name given to the fake institute which selects Eva pilots,
according to the Marduk report, he's the third child,
is the name of a Babylonian god and is also the patron god of the city of Babylon. In episode 9, Asuka mentions the impenetrable wall of Jericho.
This is the impenetrable wall of Jericho, third child.
What?
Take one step over this wall and you'll be a dead man. And now it's time to go to bed, children. Ugh.
This is in reference to the book of Joshua in the Bible and the Battle of Jericho, where Joshua and the Israelites circled the city of Jericho's walls 7 times and then they collapsed. There's a very subtle reference in episode 22.
Unit 0 has passed the 6th Malbouche Trench.
Malbouche, roughly translated meaning evil ditches, is the 8th circle of hell in Dante's Inferno, which is made up of 10 ditches or trenches. In the 8th circle, frauders are punished, which include hypocrites, seducers, and counterfeiters. The Room of Goth is mentioned in episode 23 and in the end of Evangelion.
The Room of Goth is empty.
The Chamber of Guff is open.
By Kabbalan teachings, the Room of Guff is the Hall of Souls, in which every human soul originates from, and when it is emptied, the end of the world and the coming of the Messiah is imminent. References to the number 666 can be seen numerous times in the end of Evangelion.
Has been halted. A Da Nang B-type defense program is in place. External access has been cut off for the next 62 hours.
Damn. They're trying to prevent contacts between Shinji and Unit 1.
As it says in the Book of Revelation, 666 is the mark of the beast, or the Antichrist, which will bring about the end of the world. And in the end of Evangelion, it's clear, instrumentality, as I've already said, is kind of an allusion to the end of the world, and the appearances of 666 all around the movie indicate that. There you have it. There's every single religious reference in Evangelion. That was sure exhausting. Now, if you want fuller explanations of what all these things mean for the show, in particular things like the Lance of Longinus and Lilith, then please consult V's videos in his channel, Revolution of Eva. And that's all I got for this episode of Project Eva. I will see you next episode. Join me next time on Project Eva when we talk about everybody's favorite subject, the ending. And I'm going to tell you about how the TV ending and movie ending are compatible with each other and provide evidence. So, I'll see you there.